One of the mistakes that I see a lot of people doing is not getting enough mentorship, not asking the right questions to the right people. So if you are making $100,000 a year and you want to start making $200,000, don't ask somebody who's making $50,000. Ask somebody who's making twice as much as you. How'd you get there? How'd you doing this? Don't be afraid. Start now. Do it now. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Perfect moment is never going to come. Ever, 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 ever.
What's your background story before Amazon, before e-commerce? Where were you, and how did you get introduced to Amazon, and how did you get started with all of this?
Yeah, so my background is actually in law. I went to law school in Venezuela. That was like 2009 when I graduated from high school. And after that, I found out that I quit my fourth year. Over there's 5. I'm from Venezuela originally. And I didn't like it. And so I figured out that my passion was actually filmmaking. So in 2009, in 2010, 11, I moved to the US and started studying filmmaking. I was already doing music videos and things like that. I graduated from film school and I straight moved to New York. New York was amazing. I did a bunch of stuff in New York, worked with CNN, Nickelodeon. No, Nickelodeon was here in Miami. CNN, MTV. Did a lot of movies, tons of commercials, tons of commercials. The funniest one, well, not the funniest one, the one that I like the most was a GTR commercial. We filmed it with with most successful F1 driver from India, actually, in New York. That was interesting. And yeah, so then afterwards I moved to Australia to study some sort of like a master's in MBA, master's in business. And that's where I started Share Studio. And then I moved back to Miami. I started working at Nickelodeon. And I did a bunch of stuff for Nickelodeon and other companies. And Share Studio wasn't doing too good. And this is the way I fell into Amazon, was that my boss at that time, executive producer, his best friend had an Amazon business. And one day they were in the office talking, and he's like, "Hey, I am doing really bad." He sells coffee machines and coffee pots, and it's a very competitive space, right? Coffee. It's very lucrative, but it's very competitive because the way you make money, profit margins are high, but the way you make money is by the volume. So profits margins are high, but they're very small. But if you make by the volume, that's how you make a lot of money in the coffee space. And he was hurting on Amazon, and he was asking Ricardo at the time. He's like, "Hey, Ricky, I need some photos. My listing's just horrible, blah, blah." I didn't know anything about Amazon. Just, the regular that you go on, you put your credit card, and then you waste and spend your money, and then 2 days later you get your stuff in front of your door, right? That's the only thing I knew about Amazon. This is 2018, late 2017. At that moment, Ricky was like, "I'm super busy. We're shooting a show right now." But he asked me, "Rafa, you do some things on the side. Can you help? Can you help Radu?" And I was like, "Yeah, of course, I can help." And we did. I did some commercials for him. I did really good. Did really well because I have a background in marketing as well. So the way I approached it was, okay, let me see who his avatar is, who primarily would buy this. If you're doing coffee, like there's a big coffee culture. If you're very much into a specific type of coffee, let's just say brand Nespresso, it's very unlikely you'll switch to another brand. So because you just love that one. So the way I approached it was trying to convince people that not just because of the pricing, but because of the quality of the coffee, that at least they should try it. So the video did really good. His conversions increased, and he came back to me. He's like, "Hey, maybe you should help me with the photos." So I did, and it did really well as well. I met a mentor, and my mentor was like, at that time, I had Share Studio on the side, but I was doing photos and content and marketing for like restaurants, hotels, real estate, anything I can get my hands on. And then I met my mentor. My mentor basically told me, just focus on one thing and be the best at one thing. And I chose e-commerce, and that's why I'm here. And the way I got into my brand was I was making a lot of money for my clients, and they were increasing conversions big time. And basically I was like, well, if I'm doing this for them, why can't I do it for myself? So I met my business partner at an Amazon event. He's a very well-connected human in the industry. He's been in the industry since like 1992. He's one of the pioneers on helping big candy companies into the e-commerce space. So he knows so many people. So I was like, "Hey man, I think we have something. We have synergy here. You have a lack of content, and but you have the products, and I have a lot of content. I can really execute it really, really well, and I don't have the products. So why don't we just 50-50 and just see what happens? And that's how the company was born, the selling side of Share Studio with my business partner, and that's where we're at right now. So he sources the products, and I make things look effective and pretty on Amazon, basically.
Oh, that is awesome. That's a great story. I mean, what a background. I mean, I haven't heard it that way before. So that's pretty cool. So you had a background in filming and advertising, maybe, and creating cool content around products, and you were just like in the right place, the right time, meeting someone who's in that space, and you're like, hey, let's partner up.
Well, actually, he was one of our clients. He used to work at a very, very big aggregator, but as you know, the aggregator time unfortunately went a little bit down, and there was a lot of layoffs, and he was one of those layoffs. But he knows so many people in the industry, and he's so well connected. He got hired like within a week. But I met him because he was one of our clients at Sherrod at that time. And then we just got connected.
Was he selling on Amazon already, or did you introduce him to Amazon? Okay.
I don't know. He's been on Amazon for a very, very long time. Very long time.
So when you partner up with him, did you guys decide to launch your own new product, or did you partner up with him on existing products?
So the way we partner up was there's a kind of a new, not new, it's already taken, but like at that time, because this has been going on for a while now, at that time was like a new business model, which was wholesale with private label. So he had exclusivity with some very big brands to sell specific type of candy. And what we just did is we just slapped our own products within, and we bundle it. Some people call it bundling selling. And so we have a distributor who we have licensing with for us to be the only seller. Obviously, there's a lot of people that hijack your listing, all these things that that happens in the Amazon space, and you have to always be on top of it. But we have distribution with them, and on top of that, we merged it with our own products, so that way we have our own PL.
That's really interesting. So you guys had a unique remix of a successful brand that's already selling, and you guys mixed it. So you were selling that candy with your product.
Yeah. So the product could be actually a lot of things. It could be a recipe book. It can be little bowls. It just something has to be something that you created, or either you source from China or you create digitally, but that's something that you have that nobody else has. Because if for example, if I create a book, that's my book, right?
Yeah.
And nobody else can sell it unless they buy it from me, but they have to have a proof of purchase to be able to do that. So yeah.
And so are these the products that you're sharing with us today?
Yeah.
On the breakdown sheet?
So we cannot show you specifically the products. We blurred out some content. Again, my partner likes to be very on the back end side, on the behind the cameras type of situation. So I didn't have permission from him to show everything, but I did give some permission to show some things at least. So that's what we're going to be sharing today. And the experience overall, I think the product is important, obviously, but the most important thing is the experience, because that way I can teach you what we did and not make the same mistakes, or at least do what I did, and hopefully you'll get some success from it.
Yeah, and that's totally fine with us, and I'm really excited to hear about, like, how did you decide on creating the product, and how did you approach like manufacturing, design, cost, profit margins? What I would like to hear, like, from the beginning. And so you partner up with this business partner, and
Yeah.
what was the first step in launching this brand? So I would like to hear, how did you guys tackle this business idea, and like, how did you start with? Maybe we can start with like finding manufacturers, maybe the design, maybe the product idea. Walk me kind of through that process.
Yeah,
How did you do the market research? Like, you're like, oh, we're gonna do this, because candy is a bit competitive. So I'd like to know, how did you guys decide to?
Super competitive. The good thing about this is that the brand already has a name. It's been a brand that's been going on for a lot of years, and they're very well recognized in the game. So a lot of the traffic we're already getting. So it might sound a bit easy, guys, but it wasn't easy. And the reason why it sounds easy is because we already have the years of experience in the industry. So by having these years of experience in the industry, we already kind of knew the steps, and each of us are experts in their own space. So like there wasn't really a lot that we have to do. For example, for him, he already had the manufacturer, so it didn't mean he already had the context. So he didn't have to go out and scout and look because he already had them. For me, I already had the studio. So for us creating the content and starting from the content was easy because we already have it. So it might sound easy, but I understand it's not easy. When we started, it was when I started the whole Amazon uh, space, it was kind of hard. So for the sourcing, honestly, I left it all to him. I just told him, listen, I'm going to invest as much content as we need, as much marketing as we need to make this successful. It has to be a good product. It has to be a product that's not just affordable, but also good, obviously, because it's a recurring product. So if people don't like it, the lifetime value of the customer has to be high. So if they buy just once, we won't make any money. So they have to keep buying it because it's a consumable, right? So the product has to be good, and also the margins have to be acceptable. And on top of that, the third thing, which is the hardest, was getting the licensing agreement that nobody else exclusivity that nobody else sells us but us. If it's somebody else does sell it, at least we have to get some sort of approval or some sort of heads up, but they cannot be on our ASIN, and the price cannot be the lower than ours. So there's a lot of things that we had to dial in. That was the most difficult part on getting that deal because of the nature of the deal, something kind of new. And I didn't get this idea from like nowhere. I have a friend, his name is Carlos Alvarez. He runs Wizard of Ecom here in Miami. I'm from Miami. And he told me about this business model like 4 years ago. And that's how I thought of it, and how my business partner and I thought of it. And so, yeah, I think I answered the manufacturing process. What's the second question? Oh, the process of actually executing, right?
Yeah, so like from your marketing experience, when you're about to launch a product, what is your, first steps towards launching a successful marketing campaign, for someone who's starting new? How would you approach a product launch?
That's such a good question, Kamal, because what I found out a lot through, and this is the reason why it's been so successful, is just that I don't have the experience of just myself launching a product, but I have some of the experience of all my clients I've worked with, and I've seen what they've done good and what they haven't done that well. So I learned from those mistakes that has cost them money, but I've learned from it. So I'm very, very, very grateful for having that experience with them. So after all these like trials and fails that I've seen, the best way possible is definitely have a good product, right? Have good margins on that product, but also making sure that people understand your product, making sure that you understand who's buying this actual product, and as well understanding that you have to tell a story. Us humans, we're very much storytellers, and we love stories. That's why the movies do so good in the cinemas, and they haven't died down. Even if Netflix is around, people still go to the movie because people just love a good story. So what I did is we analyzed the buyer persona, who's actually buying this. Okay, kids are consuming this product, but it's actually the parents who's buying this. So we either have to attack it in some sort of way through the parents as well, not just the kids, because the kids are consuming, but the parents are the one who actually pay for this product. So that was like an actual, that's how we approach understanding who the buyer persona is. Once we know the avatar, then we trickle down from there. We studied the market. We studied Google Trends, seasonality. For example, some of the products that we sell are not that demanded in summer. Why? Because there's no school in the summer. People are hot in the summer, so we actually have to market a different way. So, for example, the way we market some candies in the summer is that, and compared to the winter, compared to school time, is that we update the content just for the seasonality. So, school time content, when people are going back to school, we'll push a lot of like the perfect package for the perfect meal for the perfect treat for the school day, lunchtime treatness, have a great lunchtime, so on and so forth. When the summer comes around, right, there's a lot of people outside, it's hot, we pair it up with ice cream, like, hey, the perfect for a movie night with the kids, or the perfect ice cream treat, the perfect compliment for your vanilla, or depending on the keywords that people are looking for. So yeah, so depending on the product and the seasonality, we adapted to it. That's where I feel like it makes a great listing be from good to great, Because at the end of the day, a friend said this and he was very much right about it. When people go on Amazon, they don't buy products, they buy pictures. When the first time I heard that, I was like, oh, not really. But then I started analyzing it. And my perception was they're actually right, because they are buying the product, but when they're looking at it through Amazon, they're just seeing pictures. So if your listing is not converting, you're not getting the product, you're not getting the sale, meaning that the quality of the listing almost matches the quality of the product. So I would be very careful how we approach, or how people approach that marketing aspect of the product. I hope that makes sense. I tend to talk a lot, Kamel.
No, that's really good advice. I mean, it makes a lot of sense. I mean, I can relate that to, like, when I go to a restaurant, I tend to eat with my eyes. I don't know how the food tastes, but if something looks good, I tend to pick that. And that sounds very similar to shopping on Amazon.
That's actually so funny, Kamel, that you said that. I have a restaurant with my brother, and one of the things that we did is that every day we update the Instagram with the top photos. So when customers come in and they want to ask for the menu, we just tell them, go to Instagram and see the latest 10 photos are up. That way, we, one, get traction. They follow us on Instagram. They can see the menu and they can actually see the product itself. Because, like you said, I also, when I go to a restaurant, I eat with my eyes. If something doesn't look appealing, I might not get it. So yeah, so yes, you're right.
That's really good advice. I like it. So you update your listing according to the season, creating a story, relating it to your customer avatar, the people who are buying the product. These are really, really good advices, and a lot of beginner sellers tend to overlook, thinking that, oh, I'm just gonna present my product on Amazon and it's gonna sell itself. But
Yeah,
there's actually a lot of work that goes into converting your listing into a sale.
yeah. And also,
And
the other aspect. Oh no, please finish your train of thought.
yeah, no, go ahead.
No, the other aspect was that when you launch it, now it's time to push that money into that PPC endless black hole of PPC spending, right? I'm pretty sure that a lot of people listening to this are gonna be like, "Oh my God, yes, I spend so much money on PPC," and it's true, and you're gonna keep on spending. So the most important thing is getting as much for your buck as you can as possible. So, for example, one thing that we do very well is that we cater the PPC content, the content that's gonna be partnered up with the PPC, depending on the keyword. For example, let's use something else than candy. Let's use something that it's very common in the space. Let's use kitchen. So let's say it's a spoon, and it's a special spoon for ice cream. So if it's a special spoon for ice cream, that sponsored product photo or that PPC video, the sponsored ads video, the first frame, the first thing you will see is the spoon being used in action with the ice cream. So when people look for the keyword spoon for ice cream, right, they just don't see a regular spoon. They see a spoon being used for the specific. We can even go deeper. So if it's the keyword is spoon for vanilla ice cream, we make sure that the ice cream that it's in the picture or in the video or in the content is vanilla. So we are very much keyword driven, because right now that's what's helping. That's gonna change in the few years with AI. I don't even think years. I think year or months with AI. But as of now, we are very much keyword driven as well. Extremely important.
And I would like to go back a second. You mentioned that you've worked with a lot of Amazon sellers and you've learned from their mistakes, some of the
Yeah.
things that they've done that you're like, oh, you didn't do it yourself, but you learned from it. Could you share some of those mistakes?
Yeah, of course. Um, the biggest mistake that I see is that they focus in too much on the product, which is, yes, again, it's good. But if nobody's seeing your product, nobody's gonna buy it. It's just the truth, right? Like there's a brand of deodorant that I switched to. It's kind of weird, kind of personal now. We're getting into personal details, but they don't do a really good job of marketing. But I switched my deodorants to this deodorant. It's amazing. It's the best thing that's ever happened to me. Honestly, like I bought for everybody in my family, my mom, my dad, everybody. Everybody in my family is like, oh my God, this is amazing. But they don't do a really good job on marketing. And the reason why I found this is because the person reached out to me to create content for him. That's the only way that I found out about this product. Meaning that I feel like sellers sometimes focus too much on the product, not enough on marketing. And you have to understand that marketing seems like, oh my God, I have to do it. It's like going to the gym and you lift weights, but you don't do your cardio or you don't eat healthy enough. So you're never going to really see those six packs. I feel like marketing is like eating well. Like you like going to the gym, great, lifting up weights. But then when you start, you don't eat well. Like you're not really doing anything, right? You're never going to see those abs because of the layers of fat that you have in your body. So you have to eat well to reduce that calorie deficiency. I feel like in the Amazon space is, I'm trying to use this analogy, is the same. People focus too much on the product and then they spend thousands of dollars in just sourcing the product. And when they get to Amazon, they're like, let me just use my manufacturer's images. And I'm like, my good human, you're telling me that you're spending thousands of dollars, bringing something from Vietnam, China, Mexico, Colombia, sourcing here in the US, and you're going to use the same photos that this person sent you that is probably sending to all your other competitors. And you're just changing the color and the graphics, and you think that you're going to stand out. It's the exact same factory, it's the exact same product. So I feel like they put like 5% of their budget down. I would budget way more for it if you really want to stand out. Budget for PPC and budget for content. The product, you can always optimize it. You can always go back to the manufacturer and say, you know what, let's add this or let's do this. But at least you already have reviews on your listing. So yeah, all mistakes that I've seen a lot happen.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of sellers tend to underlook the importance of listing images and videos and marketing. So that's definitely a very important one, like, and I would like to dive into the launch with because you shared and you shared that the first couple of months you guys were doing negative and then you were able to turn it around. And I would love to kind of like walk through that and see how did it go first, and then what changes did you make that turned everything around for you? Could you walk me through, month 1, month 2, month 3, like how was it happening, and what did you see, and how did you like turn it around?
Okay, that's a great question. So statistically, businesses should be are not should. They should be in profits always, right? We always want to see those numbers green. Like who doesn't like money in their pocket? But businesses statistically fail within the first 2 years, statistically speaking. And then from that little percentage that's left, the large amount, the majority fail within the first 5 years as well. So technically speaking, the first 7 years, you're either bound to fail unless you do something really good. We were prepared for being negative for a couple of months. We budgeted for that because we understood that it was going to take time and traction to get, again, reviews, the ranking, PPC spend, recurring customers, because we're consumable, and so margins are not that amazing. But it's the lifetime value of the customer that matters, right? So if I'm spending for the first 3 months to obtain a customer for $50 a month, each customer, that's a lot of money. But if that customer stays with me for like 5 years, he's gonna subscribe and save. I'm not really spending any more money on that customer. That customer is like profit from my pocket already, right? So plus, if I want to exit the business, I can, give this to the buyer, be like, hey, you already have 5,000, 10,000 people in subscribe and save already. Like that's easy money already. Like you don't have to market for them. They are already buying from me, okay? Because the product is good. Unless I mess up the product or the flavor changes or whatever. But yeah, so we budgeted for that. We tried to budget for all these things that we already knew. Again, it sounds easy, and this is not perfect. We made a lot of mistakes along the way as well. But this comes because of the experience that we had in the industry. I've been on Amazon for like 4 years before I even started, 3 years before I started this company. My partner has way more experience than me, and he's been in the industry since I was like 9 years old. I'm 32 right now. So the dude has been selling for a long time already. So that helped us as well. So for example, for the first month, because I don't know if they're listening to this, that they won't be able to see it. There's first month we made 10K in revenue. So again, revenue is not profit. It sounds like, oh my God, but it's like nothing really. Then 12K second month, then third 21, then the fourth 49, and then fifth 66, and then 77 the following one. Okay, so the first month we were negative, almost 4K in profits. So the second one almost 4K as well. Third one, things got a little bit better. We were actually down 1K. And then the fourth one, that's the third one. Then the fourth one, we were up 7K, and then fifth 12, and then 6:15. Okay, and it's getting there surely but slowly. At the beginning, we wanted to be a little bit conservative with our spend, okay, and PPC, our spend in how much we were investing into the content and all these things to see how it went, because the brand's a very big brand. So we didn't think that we needed that much, assurance that it's a good product, but we actually did. So in month 3 and month 4, the first thing we did is we optimized with mm, Spirit Productions. It's not as high end as the other company I'm going to mention next, but it's working with content. So the first thing we did is a lot more affordable. So that's the first thing we did. We optimized with Spirit, and conversions increased from like a 2 to a 4%. Super important, super important, getting those conversions up, right? What does this mean? This means that we were telling the story better, right? It's a lot. Oh, again, guys, this is not just one product. This is a variety of products. This is a lot of products, almost 100 ASINs. So it's not a lot of profit per product. This is a volume thing. It's not a per product. It's not like one product I launched and made $1 million, because I feel like that's what a lot of people, these Amazon experts say, like, oh, launch one product and you'll be a millionaire. You're selling this idea of like, and it's not true. It takes a lot of work, a lot of work to actually scale this businesses on e-commerce. So yeah, so month 3 and 4, we optimized it with content, not as well as Share Studio, but well enough that it got us from a 2 to a 4 average. And then month 4, we started working with a PPC company, expert on that, called Jungle Click PPC, and that helped us increase our return on ad spend from 1.5 to a 2 to from 2 to 5. So for example, in month 4, the return on ad spend, the ROAS, went from month 3 to month 4 from a 2 to a 4.3. And then in the 5th month, after getting the data from, because the reason why we didn't spend that much amount of money on content is because we didn't have enough data from PPC. And again, so we're doing large volume, so it wasn't just like we were going to optimize one ASIN. We were going to optimize like 70 ASINs. That's a lot of work. That's like a lot of work. That's like one PPC video per product, one variation, because some of the ASINs have there's parent ASINs, there's child ASINs, and the child ASINs also have their own PPC product, right? Because of the PPC video or PPC sponsor brand ads and sponsor product photo. Because, for example, if we're selling, let's just say Skittles, and it's a 1-pack, that same image, if it's a 10-pack, it cannot be the same image. It has to be an image with 10 variations. And maybe we have some kids in the background, or maybe we have a pile of Skittles in the foreground. So it's a lot of work. So once we get the data, we're like, okay, we're good. We optimize the return on ad spend from a 1 to like a 5, 1.5 to a 5. Now that we have more data, we can target. We can create better custom content for this specifically. So we did that. We share a studio. And then obviously my company, because that's why we went to business, because I had that experience. And we went with a much more direct approach. And then the conversion went from a 4 to a 9%. So that's why, and the return on ad spend on month 6 was 5.09, almost 5.1. And so, yeah, that's, I think that's the trajectory that has got us. Well, I don't think I know. That's the trajectory that's got us there.
Wow, that's really impressive, and I understand the complexity of working with 100 products. That's like very complicated. Most of our community, they're launching 1 to 2 products, and I want to say, like, you have to do the same thing for one product that you do for 100 products. So yeah. And going back, you were saying like you have to put a budget for marketing, for the listing, for PPC in the beginning, and I totally agree with that. In the first couple of months, unless your product, I mean, there are stories and people that have launched products and it became profitable from the first month. We do see those stories.
But I feel like those are unicorns, because the common denominator is that it's, well, at least my experience and what I've seen and the people I talk to. And actually, people in the industry who've been around for a long time. I'm working with one right now. I can't say names, and this person has a lot of experience, and they've launched multiple products that have become multi-million dollar products, and they just launched one, and they came up to me and they're like, Rafa, this product is not converting very well. We need help. And we're trying to work something out right now. But yeah, I mean, to your point, you're right. But I feel like not all the products are that. I feel like that's not the norm, at least not right now. Maybe like 5 years ago, definitely. I remember 5 years ago. You remember 5 years ago that you launched a garlic press and you made a bunch of money? That was a good old days.
Well, yeah, Amazon has become very competitive now. If you're trying to like private label products, there's so much competition, and there's already bigger brands that are throwing thousands of dollars into marketing, and it's become very, very competitive space. Yeah, 10 years ago, you launch anything on Amazon and you're almost guaranteed to make money because there wasn't that many sellers. It was a new space. But I can tell you from experience working with Travis, I mean, he just launched a product called Carnivore Electrolytes. I don't know if you got a chance to see it,
No, but I'll buy it now.
but yeah, but looking at doing the right tools, and this is like a testimony of how, because we stand with the passion product idea, and we use tools like Helium 10 to do some keyword research, which is basically marketing. So we do like market research using tools like Helium 10, Google Ads, to see what people are looking for. And one of the things that Travis is really good at is creating new products that are not on Amazon. So you don't have a competition, right? So when he launched Carnivore Electrolytes, I kid you not, he spent $0 on PPC. He hasn't put a penny into PPC marketing. And he's been selling 200-300 units a month. And it's just a testimony of how he launched a product that.
Question. Travis has been on Amazon for a while now, right? So
Yeah.
so he's been on Amazon for quite a while now, and he's a guy with a tons of experience. I actually met him at an event, and I saw him. I was like, "Yo, you're Travis Marciani, right?" He's like, "Yeah." I was like, "Dude, I'm such a fan of you." So I have my little fanboy moment. So he didn't spend anything on PPC, but again, he has tons of experience. You know,
Oh,
that's
100%. And I'm not saying everyone is going to get successful with just like that, you know. These are definitely, when you have experience, it does give you it does push you forward. Yeah, it does give you an advantage over, you know. And that's why we have this community, you know. We're learning from each other because there's always new things to learn. There's always blind spots that we miss. And marketing is a big one. And I would like to ask you a question, like for someone new who's starting up, and we all face, including me, I had to spend a lot of money on PPC. I had to spend a lot of money on my listings, on my listing images, on creating videos, getting some influencer marketing. You know, I do understand the value of marketing and how important it is. And I would like to ask you a question that maybe a lot of new sellers will be thinking themselves, how much do you think is a good budget for someone starting new? Because you said a lot of people invest $10,000 on their first inventory, but they overthink the importance of optimizing their listing and their marketing launch. How much do you think is a good budget for someone starting new that they should put it towards marketing and their listing and their conversion?
Yeah, that's a great question, Kamal. It would definitely depend on the product, the niche, the buyer persona, a lot of things. It's not the same. It's not the same to sell to me than to sell to my mom. If it's not the same to sell a water bottle than to sell supplements. Supplements, as you know, is a very, very competitive in the space. And that's amazing that Travis got to launch this carnivore diet electrolytes, keto friendly, zero carbs, all these things. Again, but he made the decision out of experience, out of years and years of experience. I'm pretty sure that if somebody else would have launched just a general electrolyte, it would have been very, very hard because the niche that market is very competitive. So yeah, so to your point is it will depend. For example, I've had customers that have launched products with $5,000. I've had customers who've launched with $1,000. Just content, investment into content. I've had customers who launched with 15K. But again, it's higher tickets. So it depends. Are you selling a garlic press or are you selling a supplement that's $100? So if you're selling a supplement that's $100 and you invest $1,000 into your marketing, into your content. You're like, are you really gonna sell that? I don't think it's gonna help you. So it would depend. For example, this is our experience with this. Since it was 100 ASINs, the almost 100, not 100, almost 100, the amount of work that we had to put in from my pocket, because we set up a budget for that, but that was just for like models and things like that. But the actual budget for it, we didn't put it down. If we had to calculate, it was like 20K. But it's because I was doing it from my own pocket. I was doing it for my company, so it's different. But the first part, we were very, very, very frugal about it. Like we were just doing things for like $500 internally, in-house. Things for like $600 each ASIN. So if you have a product, and let's just say it's a $30 product in the kitchen space, I would budget at least between 2,000 to 4,000, depending. Are you gonna straight ahead go with some Amazon store? Do you want to use Amazon Post as well? Are you gonna go out and create Amazon PPC videos? Are you gonna create different variations of hero images or main images? Are you gonna test those images? So it just depends. So for example, we internally here at Sherrod, and my day-to-day seller experience as well, we use Jungle Scout, right? So we use Jungle Scout to look at the traction, the keywords, the reviews, all these other things. So based on what Jungle Scout tells us, we make decisions. So depending on those decisions, I would budget from minimum 1,000, but like that's like minimum. You're selling a garlic press to more. Actually, no, garlic presses are very expensive to do because you have to stand out. Let's just say something else, a knife or whatever, 1,500, and then that just goes up until, yeah. I wouldn't spend too much if it's your first product. I would first launch something that's very very decent based on data, run PPC. Once you get that PPC content out, then you re-optimize based on what conversions are you getting? Are you getting negative? There's some negative keywords that you don't want to approach, that you don't want to target. So it will depend. I don't like giving these not concrete answers, but it just does depend.
No, that's perfect. I mean, just to get an idea, and I understand like it depends on each product, each case is different. So, and I just wanted to get an idea of like how do you approach it and what you recommend from your experience. I honestly, I can sit and talk for hours with you on this topic. I know we're running kind of a little short on time, and I would love to do this again. But before we end this call, I would like to hear your from your expertise, what are 3 mistakes that you may have made in the past that cost you money that you could share with us?
Yeah. So the reason why I didn't launch a brand sooner, I was looking into it. Actually, I hired some people in my department, in my company, to just help me launch products. Andrew can testify to this. If you're watching this, if you're listening to this, Andrew is in the call. He's the CMO for Sherrod. But I never launched it because I felt, and I knew that I was a lack of experience in that matter from because I knew I was going to go deep with the content because that's my forte, and I was going to spend a lot of money there. So one of the mistakes that I see a lot of people doing is not getting enough mentorship, not asking the right questions to the right people. So if you are making $100,000 a year, and you want to start making $200,000, don't ask somebody who's making $50,000. Ask somebody who's making twice as much as you. How'd you get there? How'd you doing this? Help me. So I think that's the first mistake: people not having enough knowledge and not having the will, or being too shy to ask the right questions to the right people. I remember when I started film school, when I finished film school, dude, I walked to all the film sets I could, and I literally just asked for help. Like, hey, in New York, hey, I want to work here. What can I do? I want to do it for free. The reason why I got into Red Bull was because I did a full day, 16-hour day for free. That's what I did. And I just asked a lot of questions. So that's the first thing. Second thing, to launch an Amazon listing is not budgeting. So one of the mistakes that I was going to make, and thankfully I got the right mentorship, was I wasn't going to budget for restocking. I was just going to wait for Amazon. Don't do that. Do not do that. So I asked one of my mentors, Carlos Alvarez from WWE, which is Become, and he's like, Rafa, you need to budget for restocking. Don't wait on Amazon. That has to come from your pocket. Then Amazon will pay you. But this has to come from your pocket. And you definitely got to be negative the first few months. So make sure you put a budget down for that. So I did put a budget down for that. And then the third mistake that I've suffered, not being patient enough. As an entrepreneur, and as a lot of us that listen to this, I think a lot of people can relate. Not maybe not all, but I feel like as entrepreneurs and we're trying to build something, we want to have everything now. And life is not like that. Life, sometimes you need patience, a little bit of patience. Unfortunately, marketing, for example, is not 1 + 1 = 2. It's like, oh, I bought 10,000 units. I'm going to sell 10,000 units. I'm going to make $2 here, 20K, easy, boom. Come on. It's not like that. You have returns. So patience. I get very frustrated. I started meditating though, so I'm better now. But yeah, I would say that's it, man.
Yeah, no, these are really good lessons that, and I totally relate to, all of it. And I'm a lot of people ask me like, oh, why should I sign up for a course? It's too expensive, or why should I sign up for a mentor? I don't have the money. I'm like, there are very few people who can succeed in this world without mentor. I don't think there is even anyone who can succeed without mentors or a community that, like we all need each other. We all need mentors. We all nobody's born an expert in anything. And
I completely, man. It's like people, okay, they're fine getting into debt to go to, I don't know, MBA or go to business school for like $200,000. And that doesn't guarantee you anything, right? Just a degree.
right.
You'll get a job. Sure, you'll get a job that it's gonna pay you what, 150K a year. So you'll have to, after expensive and after all that, you'll be paying that loan for like years, right? So if you pay, I don't know, guys, disclaimer. I don't know how much Travis charges for mentorship. I don't know if he does mentorship, but let's just say he does do mentorship and he charges $5,000. Just put a number out there. Again, I do not know if Travis charges, but let's just say he does. And he charges $5,000, and he can help you bring an idea to life, like his carnivore electrolytes. He didn't do PPC, he's still getting sales. I checked it on Amazon right now. Amazon says that 300 plus bought in the past month, and he's not doing PPC. That's amazing. I would give you 10K if Travis gave me that idea. You know what I mean? So 100% come. I completely agree with you, man.
And before we close this, I would like to end it with 3 lessons that you can give to someone starting new on this journey. I know you've already given good tips, but I'd like to end it on a positive note. Yeah. 3 lessons that you could share with someone starting new, maybe your younger self. What would you leave us with?
Okay, the first one would be, don't be afraid. I was married at the time when I was working at Nickelodeon, and I was very much afraid to leave my comfort zone, my cushion, my safe zone, my comfort zone, right? To start this crazy, to go full into share studio. So I would say, don't be afraid. It's okay to have fear. We're humans. We're born. We're designed to have fears to protect ourselves. That's what Mother Nature did to us. But don't be afraid. We're still humans. We still decide what we're going to do at the end of the day. So don't let fear determine what you're going to do, or limit your success, or limit the way you can actually benefit your family and generations if you do something really good. You could be the next, literally. Let's see who's a great Amazon seller. Travis. I'm sure Travis is doing good with himself. So why not do good for yourself as well? The second one would be not being afraid. Start now. Do it now. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Perfect moment is never going to come. Ever, 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 ever. I was in a very good position at Nickelodeon. I was with the post-production team. I was my boss's right hand, and I decided to quit everything. I actually got a job as a delivery driver because I had to make at least, I budgeted out, okay, what's the minimum I have to make? The minimum, so I can pay rent and put food on the table and pay for gas. That's it. No, I wasn't budgeting at going out to the movies or anything. So I got a side gig at Amazon warehouse, delivering packages. I also looked for Amazon specifically because I knew I was getting into Amazon. So I wanted to know the beast from the inside out. And I budgeted for that. So start now. It's like the saying, the best time to plant a tree was 50 years ago. When's the second best time to plant that tree? Today. What are you going to wait for tomorrow? You're not going to get any younger. You could die tomorrow, literally. I actually downloaded this app, Cam. I think I'm gonna recommend it to you. I want to send it to you after we're done with this. It gives you, based on the life expectancy, it gives you and your birth date, it gives you the amount of weeks that have passed in your life and the amount of weeks that are left. Visually, it's crazy. I got like goosebumps yesterday. I sent it to my dad as well. That's like, don't send me things like this. This is too rough for me. Um, what else? The third one would be for Amazon now. And it's not because I'm a marketer or anything, but if you treat your Amazon store good and if you treat your Amazon journey well and you dedicate the time, you go and learn, you actually invest, and you're not afraid to invest because to make money it takes money. Yeah, learn from the best. Honestly, that's it. Those are the positive 3 notes.
Wow, thank you, Rafael, for that. I appreciate it. I definitely learned so much, and I feel inspired from this call. Uh, I want to thank you for your time and for joining us today. Where can people find you? If there's there anything you want to share, where can people find you? A website or anything you would like to share?
Well, guys, if you want to find me, I'm in Miami. You can come down to Miami. We can have a drink. But all jokes aside, you can find me at shareitstudio.com. That's SH, like you share something online, SHAREIT studio.com. Instagram, Share Studio. YouTube, Share Studio. Everywhere, Share Studio. If you want to get in touch with me directly, literally just DM us and just say, hey, I want to talk to Rafael directly, and my team will punch you through. So yeah, so you can reach out to me.
Cool, Rafael. I would love to do this again. Thank you for being here, and I'll talk to you soon.
Sounds good, Cam. Thank you, brother. Appreciate your time.